All right, Melanie, we are ready to hear from you tonight.
All right. Well, I am so grateful to get to share, and I'm going to apologize in advance because for the last 15 minutes I have been frantically trying to send the PowerPoint presentation I created from my work computer to my home computer, and something is crazy wrong and it won't send. It keeps telling me the server issue is denied. I'm like, really? So anyway, I have a great PowerPoint presentation you're not going to get to see, but you're going to get to hear the content and stare at my very sweaty face instead. So I do want to encourage you to grab a notepad and an ink pen, because hopefully you're going to find some golden nuggets in this training tonight. And thank God I printed out my notes. What we're going to talk about tonight is sometimes you win and sometimes you learn. And Heidi Appling coined that phrase, and I'm not even sure where she took it from a while back, but I have absolutely loved that because it has helped me significantly in remembering that, you know what, you're not going to win and have an ace night at everything that you do, whether it's whether it is a book that you're reading, whether it is a presentation you're doing, whether it's a coffee date. You know, sometimes you get the absolute max out of something, and then other times you just feel like, really? I mean, why did I just spend this time doing that? And the reason I chose to train on this tonight is I think it's so important that you guys realize that this is a very real part of our business. It's literally just like the day-to-day. Every day do you wake up and feel like it's going to be a glorious day, but you choose to put the right hat on, have the right attitude, and power through. And personally for me, I try to look for what can I learn through each day, even when it's a day full of what feels like adversities. So what I want to focus on tonight is those roadblocks that you're going to hit on your Arbonne journey, because I think it's important that all of you know, whether you've been in this business for 2 days, for 2 months, or for 2 years, or almost 10 years like myself, that roadblocks are, quite frankly, they're a part of the business. Just like speed bumps are in the road, traveling, you know, wherever it is you are on your destination too, day to day. You're going to hit those potholes, and it's all about how you respond in the moment versus maybe, you know, choosing to just pull over and dwell on it. So I once heard that choosing to quit is like having 4 flat tires and deciding that your car no longer has any value. That's not true. You've simply got to change those tires out, put new tires on, and that car still holds the same value that it had before. And so does your Arbonne business. So don't let what a lot of us like to refer to as our bombs distract you or discourage you or make you think that you are not effective in working your Arbonne business. Quite frankly, they're just part of the journey. So as we get started, I want you to ask yourself this question. Have you ever experienced a roadblock in your Arbonne journey? I can tell you for sure I have. And quite frankly, some of those roadblocks were the best building blocks as I continue to pursue my future. So have you ever wanted to quit after one of those days? There were a few of those days that I did. I thought, I am packing this stuff up, I am selling it, and I'm done. Because it was just so frustrating. Sometimes it just did not quite seem worth it. But if you remember, Tom Barrett tells us in his book, Success Happens, that, you know, you're going to have those roadblocks where you feel like, I'm not sure this is worth it. And then you're going to have those days where you think, wow, this is pretty good. And then you're going to eventually hit that level where you think, I'm not worth this. This is amazing. And you find that not from the income level that you make, but from the ability you've had to help so many people achieve their goals, achieve their dreams, and become all that they were created to be and all that you were created to be. So don't grow weary in doing what is right, because in due time, your harvest will come. I want to encourage you to work diligently as you are pursuing your goals and your dreams with Arbonne. Don't ever compare yourself or your journey. The only thing we're allowed to compare is calendars. And even then, your calendars may not yield the same activity that somebody else's may. And that's okay. It has nothing to do with you not being who you are supposed to be. It's just all a part of the journey that God takes us on as we grow ourselves, and we have the ability to grow so many others on our Arbonne journey. So I want to ask you this question. I heard this in church this morning and I thought, wow, that is such a great tip for Arbonne training tonight. Are you preparing for opportunities that you don't even know are coming? Don't ever underestimate what God will do with your obedience. So, sometimes if you have a goal out there that you are working hard towards, you're a little more disciplined maybe in your obedience to train and to follow through. If you knew you were going to be running a marathon sometime this summer, you're probably going to be pretty diligent about training day in and day out, or week in and week out, because you've got a goal that's right out there. Well, maybe you don't know when your next promotion with Arbonne is coming, or maybe you've not even set that as a goal, and I would encourage you to consider doing that. But are you working your business week in and week out, month in and month out, as if you were pursuing that new goal, even though you're not sure of when it's going to come? Because that message that I heard this morning is absolutely correct. God will bless your obedience to do the do. And we oftentimes remind people that the only thing you should connect yourself to is the activity, not the results. Because we don't always get the results that we're looking for on the day of our activity. Many times we get the results a week later, a month later, maybe even a year later. I am so grateful that Vicki never gave up on me. She was diligent for 2 solid years in pursuing me and with this Arbonne opportunity, because she knew what it could offer my family and I. She knew what she felt like I had to offer the business. And I'm so grateful that despite the many no's that I gave her, she didn't say, okay, I'm done, I'm moving on. God continued to give her a desire in her heart to pursue me. And through her diligence in doing that, after 2 solid years, I finally said yes to even trying the products. Talk about a hard sell. But I'm so grateful for that. And I hope that you will not grow weary in doing good, because there are people that God has placed on your heart for your business. There are people that God has placed on your heart because they should be consumers of your products. And regardless of what that reason is, you can be a blessing to them before they even realize it. So what I want to really reiterate to you tonight is that it is all about them. We have to maintain a servant's heart as we pursue this business. And sometimes that's easier than others, because sometimes we may not be mentally or physically or spiritually ourselves in the right place to really truly want to serve others. I can tell you as a mom, some days I am all about, man, how can I be the best mom and serve my children today? And then there's other days where I am exhausted, I'm tired, I feel like I've served and served and served, and dang it, I would like somebody to serve me. And so regardless of our attitude with this business, honestly, as I hear one MVP after another communicate, especially from the stage at GTC, their businesses have flourished because of their complete servant's heart. So I want to encourage you more than anything to have a servant's heart in your attitude towards each and everything that you do with your business. As you're asking for activity, is it about what it will do for you or what it will do for them? So there are some people that as we reach out to them, because maybe they're friends or family, we let them know, this would really help me as I'm starting my Arbonne business. And that's totally okay. But you have to realize at some point when you get outside of your really close circle of friends, you've got to turn your verbiage to what the benefit is for that person, because we're all busy. And as much as we would love to help others, sometimes there's just not always a lot of time to help others. And so we need to change that into what would be good for them. And maybe it's, you know what, Vicki, you are such a busy mom. I would love to treat you and a few of your friends to a girls' night in, because I know that you probably very rarely take time for yourself. Would you be willing to have 2 or 3 friends over and let me come treat you all? I've heard Anna say that numerous times to various people. She's very focused on how she can serve them. And I think a lot of that comes from her background in being an occupational therapist and having a genuine interest in wanting to help others. And I've learned from her as I've heard her speak and offer that to people, because her focus is on serving others at all times. And that is a great, great quality to have. But it's also something that I want to encourage you to think about as you are working to build relationships with people that maybe you don't know as well, maybe a new contact, maybe somebody that's a complete cold contact, somebody you met out, because they gave you a great shopping experience. They were a helper at a retail store that you were shopping at. You told them they'd be great at this business, and you have a follow-up call. You don't have a relationship with them. So help them see what's in it for them in order to help them have a desire to want to have that little get together, which ultimately is going to help you. In increasing your sales, have you showed them how to maximize their dollar? That is really where you're going to get the most bang for your buck. I say that because oftentimes we just let somebody pick what they want, and we don't help them to see how they could save a few more dollars by adding one more item. Now, for some people, this doesn't come easily because math is not their forte, and that's okay. But we have great tools and resources that you can lean on. You don't have to be a math wizard that can do all this in your head. You simply need to use our Arbonne calculator that you can download on your phone. Or even Anna mentioned to me yesterday that she's loving this new sheet that she's printed off of The Source that shows what retail is, what the consultant price is, and what the preferred client price is in choosing to buy Arbonne's products at a discount, because it's very quick and simple to show people what their cost savings is, since there's no prices in the catalog at this point. So definitely something for you to consider, but make sure your focus is on how you're helping them, what you're saving them. And oftentimes, one of the things I like to reiterate to people is I'm helping you choose to shift where you shop. These are not additional dollars that you're spending because you already spend money on personal care or you already spend money on food. You're simply exchanging some of your grocery budget to spend it with Arbonne as opposed to maybe Whole Foods or Costco or Walmart or wherever it is you're doing your grocery shopping. When you help them to see how it benefits them and what's in it for them, then oftentimes that's where your benefit's going to come. Also, in joining the business, are you offering this to everyone who indicates that maybe they have a need for this business? The only way you know that is to listen. How many times have you sat in the stands at maybe a kid's activity and you overheard somebody saying, you know, I'm so grateful that my kid loves this sport, but oh my gosh, it's expensive. It is killing our family financially to cover the expense of this select sport. You know what? You've got an opportunity to offer them. How many times have you heard somebody say, wow, my spouse just got laid off. I'm honestly not sure how we're going to make ends meet until they find something else. You have something to offer them. How many times have you heard somebody say, I actually just heard this yesterday, gosh, what I would give to go on a real vacation. My vacation is always to go see family because that's really all I can afford to do, and that's all I can do with the minimal time I have to get away. How many times have we not offered to people what this could be for them? I love that Anna shares in her story that, one of the greatest blessings that she's been able to offer her family through Arbonne is vacations, because that was something they didn't used to get to do. That's a huge perk and a huge benefit. More than anything, what I want you to realize is that our bombs are part of the journey. They're disappointing. They sometimes leave you frustrated. They sometimes leave you wondering, really, is this a good choice? Is this really the best use of my time? But I want to tell you that it is. And we've all had some experiences like that on our journey to the next level. And so I've asked some of our leaders tonight to share with you some of their Arbombs, because I want you to hear that these people go through. So that being said, Vicki, I'd like to start with you if you want to pop back on the screen. And would you please share with us what your Arbomb story is and how you chose to overcome that? Can't hear you. Are you muted?
Just a second. How's that?
Okay, now we can hear you.
Okay, sorry about that. Well, I was just saying, I don't know where to start. When you've been doing this business 12 years, you're going to have quite a few of them, or I guess a little over 11, almost 12 years. But you know what, you guys, I heard someone say, one of the trainers at our conference, and I posted this on our Facebook wall, and she said, don't judge someone else's beginning to someone else's ending. I think oftentimes we look at the VPs in this business, whether it's Mel or area managers, whether it's Anna or Rachel or Kimberly, and we think, we think, yeah, they must have got lucky. And we see them for the person they are now, the way they're engaged in their business, the way they interact with people. We see the way that they do their presentations, and we think, oh my goodness, they're so gifted, they're so good at this. But you have to remember that they had a starting date too, and there was a time in their business where they were just like you. They had a clean slate in front of them, but what they've done, the only difference between where you are and where they are is honestly time that they've spent learning this business and learning the skills of this business and going out there and practicing, because we all know practice makes perfect, and doing it over and over and over again. So I love what Lisa Voorhees said, and because I do think that we look at the leaders in this business and we think, oh my gosh, their personality, oh my goodness, there's the way they say things, it just seems so natural. But you know what? It wasn't always that way. We started out exactly where you are. We've just learned how to do this business and master the skills that we needed. We were invested in these phone calls and the training opportunities. So I wanted to share that with you just kind of as a lead off. I've had lots of different situations in my business where I've been disappointed and frustrated and questioned, was I really supposed to be doing this? Was this really what God had in store for me? Because I felt like I was hitting roadblocks many, many times. But what I soon discovered is that if God leads you to it, He will lead you through it. And I realized at that point that there was nothing else out there that I could do that could potentially give me the life that I really wanted for my family. And I knew that. And so I knew there was it would be worth my time to take a look at this and to give it my all. And because I did that, I began to look at my disappointments and my frustrations differently, because I looked at them as learning opportunities. And we train on that all the time. And I know that's easier said than done. And even in the Bible, it tells us, consider it pure joy, right, when you face trials of any kind. But at the same time, that's so much easier said than done. But because I chose time after time after time to look for the opportunity in every obstacle and in every frustration, it has really allowed me to grow as a person in every area of my life. An example, my launch parties, you guys, I had just moved back to Oklahoma. Tammy had been in the business 7 months. I didn't know anybody, or I shouldn't say I don't know anybody, because I think that's a false statement for anyone to say, but I knew very few people here in Oklahoma. I was rekindling relationships and friendships, having just moved here, and the people that I did know had already become preferred clients of Tammy's, or a good part of them. And so I invited a ton of people, repeat people, to my launch parties. But I will tell you, my first launch party, I had one person show up, and she bought a lipstick, and she was a girl from high school, and she's my best friend from high school, mind you. And the second launch party, the very next day, I had 2 people show up out of all the ones I invited. And I sold 2 baby care products, which were $14 each at the time. So that was my launch events. You guys, right then and there, I could have thrown down, my presentation and thought, okay, forget this. But you know what? I did not allow my presentation or my launch parties to dictate my future in this business. I knew it was a stepping stone to something better. And I learned that early on because I was plugged in to the leaders in this business, and I just borrowed their belief in what they were pouring into me and what they said. And they did not steer me wrong. One other challenging time that I had that was an Arbonne that Melanie talks about is I drove to Texas. I had taught in Texas for 7 years, or 6 years rather, but had lived there for 9 right out of college. So a lot of my relationships were still in the Dallas area. So when I started my business, I booked a lot of get-togethers down there, and I would book one after another so I could just take one day of travel, go down, do my presentations, and come home. Well, I had booked with one of my best friends that I taught with while I was there. super excited about it. She had an incredible turnout. And I was getting things ready in another room while the guests were going into the living area where the presentation was going to be. And I overhear someone speaking like they were doing a presentation in the living room. And so I go in there, and it was actually one of my hostess's good friends that she was teaching with at that time was doing a Mary Kay presentation in the front of the room. She had set her presentation table up right next to mine. And so anyway, so I remember going back into the bathroom area where I was getting things ready. And I remember just standing there going, is that really happening? Is she really doing that? And you know what, you guys, I was not rude. You know, it was the power of the Holy Spirit, but I was not rude. I just acted like it was supposed to be that way. And I walked in and I did my presentation with a smile on my face. I was not rude to her at all. At that presentation, she sat down when I came in. I did my presentation, and at the very end, when I was doing my Ways to Enjoy Arbonne, she stood up and said, and I am doing a buy one, get one free today. And the hostess, my dearest friend, bought from her first, like raised her hand and said, okay, I want an eyeliner, and bought from her first. I left there with low sales. It wasn't a huge sale. I did book a party. I left with no business partners, but I had very little sales. And I remember driving home just mind-boggled thinking, did that just really happen? And I called Tammy, and I'll be honest with you, I was crying. I was actually in qualification for the RVP at the time, and I called Tammy, and I was crying my eyes out, and I was like, I drove 2 hours, 4 hours round trip, and I was just so bummed. And she goes, Vic, she said, listen, you are not working this business for a white bicycle, sister. So you need to toughen it up, and you need to just dry your eyes, and you just need to focus on the reason you are there and see the bigger picture. And she said, there are bigger things to come, and this is just one obstacle that's going to grow you into that leader you need to be for your team. And I've never forgotten that, and it's so true. So I did not let my success in my business rest on that disappointing event that I had, that I could have very well thrown my hands up and gone, okay, cool, this is ridiculous. But I didn't. And because of that, many months later, I will tell you, actually it was probably 2 years later. I'm not even kidding. Probably 2 years later, maybe a year and a half later, both of her daughters that were at that presentation, my friend's daughters, signed up to do the business, called me out of the blue to do the business. And so I got to launch them. So anyway, all that to say is don't rest on the results of your presentations because you have not seen them yet. Mel, I'll turn it to you.
That's awesome. And let me apologize. I went to tell my son something in the middle of your conversation and realized I wasn't muted. So my apologies. Okay, Anna, would you please share with us?
Oh, yeah. Okay, so I kind of have two. One is a true R bomb. I got all excited. I had somebody who was launching out in El Paso, and she just told me, I can't do it by myself. I really need you to come out. And I said, well, I can only come out if you have back-to-back appointments booked. And she said, okay, that's fine. I can do that. And I said, well, then we need to have a really good turnout. So please make sure that you're getting the word out. You're inviting plenty of people. She said, oh, yes. I've invited 50 people. I've told them that we're going to do it at your mom's house because I don't have enough room. And I'm thinking, great, this is wonderful. So I go out there and, at this time, I'm just starting my business. I don't have very much support. I have my kids are not happy that I'm going, and then I'm inconveniencing my parents, and they have to pick me up at the airport and lend me a car and this whole kind of bit. And so it was and plus I take off from work. So it was a real big stretch to go out there. I go out there. I tell the lady, hey, I'll come pick you up. I go to her home, and it is seriously something off of Buried Alive. I am not exaggerating. I am not kidding you. And I was like, this is exactly why you couldn't have it here. So she's like, I just said, okay, are you coming? Did the plan change? She's like, no, I'm coming. So we get into the car and we go back to my mom's house. This time we were doing the foot soaks, which I don't train on anymore. And if you're on my team, I'm happy to teach it to you if you want it, but I don't do that. We were doing the foot soaks. So I had all these foot soaks at my mom's house, getting ready. We have all the snacks out. We have everything's ready. The trifecta table. And I'm talking to her and I'm telling her how we're going to do the presentation. And then she says to me, well, I don't know where the people are because it's like 30 minutes late. Well, this is El Paso, so you kind of give people about 45 minutes for the first guest to show up. So you're still waiting, nobody. Still waiting, nobody. And we had booked them back to back. So we had pretty much like a 10 o'clock, we had a 2 o'clock, and then we were going to have a 6 o'clock. So nobody's coming to the 10 o'clock. And I asked her, I said, well, did you get any confirmations? What did they say when you were talking to them? And she looked right at me with all seriousness. She said, talk to them. I sent them fax invitations. Fax invitations. Now, how many of you get fax machine stuff anymore? So she sent out 50 fax invitations. So pretty much you could say we had nobody coming to these launches, nobody coming to these presentations. I had spent all this time, money, and everything coming to help her to get her going because she was telling me how she had done a couple MLMs before. She had done the adult relationship one and couldn't do that one anymore because her daughter was getting to the point where she couldn't have that around the house. And so anyway, that's why she was looking at doing Arbonne, and she needed the income and all this other kind of stuff. So I was very excited to help her get into a better situation. But when I looked at her and I said, you sent out fax invitations? I told you to call people. I told you needed to speak to them. People haven't really heard of Arbonne in El Paso, and you really need to get that connection. And so she just looked at me. She says, well, I don't know why I answer faxes. So that kind of ended, and I flew out the next day, but I was sitting at the airport because then I had to come home and tell my husband, nope, I didn't have a strong business builder. Nope, I had no sales. And yes, I had just spent my one and only Arbonne paycheck on my plane ticket. So I was crying, and I was really devastated because I had done all this to go out there. And I was in the airport, and I was on the phone with Tammy. And then Tammy was telling me that the reason, because I needed to know this, the reason why we have to get through these types of presentations, the reason why we have to go through these types of obstacles is because if we got there really easy, the other people who are joining our business might not necessarily get it that easy, and it's not realistic. So the obstacles and the challenges that you're facing are the ones that your team members are going to face, and you will be able to show them the fortuitousness and the boldness and the courage to stick through it versus, oh yeah, I got to this level in 2 months. Okay, that's great, but that doesn't help you when you're building the team if they don't have it that way. So that was my major Arbonne. But my second one is I had done a little prize for my mom's Lions Club meeting, and they do the little raffles at their meetings. And so I gave away, the European spa facial, which is another one that we do, but I don't do that in a group. I do that only, one-on-one. And so this person had won it, and she was so excited, get the booking. And so we set it up, and it was really far down near, if you're in the Dallas area, it was like down south, Bedford, Arlington, with all the construction. It's really hard for me to get to. I come to the door, and she is dressed like Angora from Bewitched, the mother. And she shows me where I can put my things. She's in this lounge. She has this recliner lounge chair type of thing set up. She has spa music playing. She has her hair pulled back into this Angora, like, wrap, turban type of thing. And then she says, there's where you can use this restroom. So I'm putting the stuff in the bathroom and I'm getting this stuff set out on the little table. She's laying in the recliner with her head back, and she says to me, "You may begin." Just like that. And I'm just like, what the heck is going on? Well, she was there, but I was giving her this facial. So I played along and I started doing the steps, and I start talking to her about each product that I'm using. And she opens one eye. And by the way, she did have cucumbers that she had put on her own eyes. She takes the cucumber off. She says, shh, shh, shh. When I go to get a facial, they don't speak. And she puts the cucumber back on her eye and lays back down. I'm dying. I finished the whole entire presentation. I started to talk to her about the product, and she just said, oh, no, that's okay. Thank you. My dermatologist doesn't want me using anything else. So again, I leave there just like, what the heck just happened? What was that? And I'm just grinning, and I stuck my foot in my mouth really bad because there was a man there, and she's talking to me, and my mom had told me she lived with her son. Well, guess what? Yeah, not her son. It was her husband. And so I said to her, oh, I didn't think your son was going to be here today. And then that really stuck my foot in my mouth. So she was like, well, I guess I really do look bad if you're telling me that I look old enough to be his mother. I said, oh, my mom told me you live with a son. I didn't even really look at, how old he looks or anything. I just saw that there was a man there. So I was playing it off. But anyway, long story short, a couple weeks later, she calls me back. She actually called me back because she had gone to Vegas and she had seen people. She was celebrating her birthday, and she was going down the big slide there and swimming with the sharks there in Vegas. And she calls me while she's getting on the plane, come back, and she said, okay, clearly I need to buy the set that you put on my face because every single person that I met here said that I look 10 times younger. And we had just done her facial. So that didn't really turn out to be a balm, but at the time I was doing it, I did. And I called Melanie on the way back from her house, just like, you will not believe what just happened. It was pretty hilarious. But there you go.
Absolutely. I so forgot about that story till you just shared it. It is still as funny as it was then. Oh my gosh. Because I kept thinking, are you kidding me? Really? This all just took place? And it did. And, honestly, you guys, that is what your upline is for. I will share one quick story. And I had a similar experience where I drove an hour and 20 minutes to a party here in the local metro. And a couple of gals that I had done some parties with decided they wanted to join the business. And they were just not the type of people that I would normally choose to spend my time with. They had very dirty mouths. They drank a lot. And I remember calling Vicki and Tammy one night on my way home because I was doing a variety of activity with them since they were telling me they wanted to launch their business. And I just kept saying, these are not the kind of people I want to sacrifice my time with my family for. I mean, I'm giving up my Saturday night with my family to hang out with these people that are using language that I swear I've never heard with their children. It's more of a drunk party than it is anything else. Maybe there's some sales, but I mean, is this really worth it? And they kept telling me, Melanie, just do the do. And you know what? In sorting through those people, I found one of my most faithful, probably 6 or 7 year clients that I've had, who's hosted a regular activity for me every year, who places numerous orders through me every year. And I'm so grateful for that because you need people that are loyal customers in your business. You need people that are business builders in your business. And then you need people, to give you experience in your business. So Kimberly Skiles, unfortunately, was also going to share with us tonight, but she is in the air. Her flight was delayed this evening, and so she is going to catch up on the recording with us. But I hope that you will take the message from so many of these different stories and just realize that, you know what, when you have a bad day, when you have a complete zero sale party, when you just feel like, is this really going to work? It is. It's normal. This is all things that we go through because God's grooming us and growing us. And every time I have left one of those our balm parties, maybe it was a $0 sale party. It is so much like what Vicki and Anna have shared, that it's growing us to that next level. It's helping us to try to find the blessing in what feels like the curse of the day or the evening. And more than anything, realizing that, if nothing else, maybe we got to bless those people temporarily. I've learned in my 10 years with Arbonne that some people are a part of your business for a season, and some people are a part of your business for a long time. And regardless, the blessing is you get to be a part of blessing them through that season or for a long time. And there's so much more that comes with it. So focus on the right things, and remember that it's not the setbacks, it's the comebacks that truly define our character. It's also what just gets us to where we need to be. And if I can get my quote to come up here, hold on, stand by. I have one more thing I want to share with you. I saw this today on Coach Jerry's Facebook wall, and I thought this was perfect to kind of finalize and summarize our time together. It says, "Dear brothers and sisters, when troubles of any kind come your way, consider it an opportunity for great joy. For you know that when your faith is tested, your endurance has a chance to grow. So let it grow, for when your endurance is fully developed, you will be perfect and complete, needing nothing." I can't imagine ever getting to a point that I need nothing. And so I'm grateful that I am constantly growing, and that God is refining me, and that He is testing me and teaching me to trust day in and day out, and to have faith that this amazing opportunity He's presented is going to be all that He's promised me it will be, because it sure has been so far. So the only way you will ever fail at this opportunity is to quit. So keep doing the do. Know that hardships and road bumps along the way are all part of the process, but it's helping you grow into the person that you need to be, and it's helping you to become what you need in order to help the people that you are going to be blessed to journey along with. And with that, Vicki, I'll turn it over to you.
Awesome, Mel. Thank you so much. And as we shared at the beginning of the call, this is a topic that we don't talk about near as much. And I think we should, because you guys need to know that we are just real people, and our journey is not a straight path to success. Our journey has its little roadblocks and its little curves and its little dips, just like anyone else's. We just decided to keep putting one foot in front of the other, and just to continue to press on. You guys, that's why your vision has to be so crystal clear, and that's why we encourage you over and over to make sure that you have a heart connection with the reason you have joined this opportunity, and that you can see the bigger picture. And that's why we insist that people that are serious about their business, that they take advantage of these calls, so that they can be filled up every single week, because we need it to be able to go pour out to other people. We've got to have our cup full to be able to give to others. And that's just one way that we're able to do that for you. But you've got to understand the reason why you're doing this business. And when you understand that, the how will come. It will absolutely come. And just to reiterate a few things, Mel, I'm so glad you shared on this topic. I had actually shared another topic with Mel that I thought would be good, and she's like, no, I really feel like I've got a good topic that I just feel like on my heart I need to share, and you could not have been more right. And that's why I always encourage us as leaders to go with your heart, go with what you feel led to share. We have to understand that part of the business is disciplining our disappointments, and understanding that attitude isn't everything. It's the only thing, you guys. It's how you look at things that will be the testimony of your business and the success of your business, because there are other people watching you. Mel, I was a national vice president when Kimberly Skiles and Melanie Billingsley joined my team. Okay, you guys. And both of them were people that were shared the business opportunity over and over and over, and did not join right away. But because I was persistent, I shared with Melanie the business month one of my business. Month one. And 2 years later, after I was already a national vice president, she finally came to an event after inviting her to numerous things, you guys. But I did not wait on her. I worked while I waited. And because I did that, I gave her proof that what she could be a part of and what she could do for her own family. I was the evidence, and that's why she said yes to this business. You are the evidence for someone. So I encourage you to keep pressing forward. Don't focus on the results. Focus on the activity. I truly believe God blesses effort. I believe that with my absolute every part of me. I do believe that. So just continue on and know that if you have been given this business, you guys, this opportunity, and each of you have, and you are serious about it, or you wouldn't be on this call tonight, that he will give you, he will equip you to be able to finish out that vision that he has given you. He has given you a glimpse into what your future can hold. And he has now equipped you with a business opportunity that can deliver that for your family. So keep on keeping on. You will have to grow to the top of this business. We don't just go to the top, we grow to the top. So in closing, I want to finish out with our team declaration. Our team declaration tonight says, we declare we are special and extraordinary. We are not average. We have been custom made. We are one of a kind. Of all the things God created, what he is the most proud of is us. We are his masterpiece, his most prized possessions. We will keep our head held high, knowing that we are a child of the Most High God, made in his very image. This is our team declaration. I love you guys. I love that we get to grow in this business together. I love that we get to sharpen one another in this business. And I love that we get to build people up while building this business. You each mean so much to me, but you have a team of people out there that aren't on your team yet, but will be because you were bold enough, brave enough, and loved enough to go out and share what you have in way of this opportunity. Go be a difference maker, you guys. You have everything you need. I love you guys. Have an incredible week, and we'll look forward to sharing time of growing together on Wednesday night. Good night, everyone. Thank you, Melanie, again, for your time tonight. You didn't need a PowerPoint, girl. It was wonderful, just like it was.
Well, now I'm mad. I spent all that time putting the dumb thing together.
I know.
But thank you.
You did great.
God knew I needed to practice. Thanks. Y'all have a good one.
Good night, everyone.